Hello and welcome to another tier list video. Today we are taking a look at the Old School Runescape skill capes. I'm not going to be rating these on usefulness or how impressive they are, purely just aesthetic looks. So starting us off, we have agility. For some reason agility is the only one that is the untrimmed version, but I think the trimmed version looks good as well. The blue cape, it goes well with quite a bit of fashionscape. Pretty solid, but the main drawback of this skill cape for me is the icon. I think the agility icon just doesn't look very cool at all. Just kind of like, not quite a stick person, but kind of just a person mid-sprint. I don't think it looks that great. It's pretty plain, so we'll put it in the C tier. Up next, we have the attack skill cape. Now, I think this one looks really good. I think red and yellow is a great combination. I think the sword icon looks pretty good as well. Attack, definitely one of the better ones in my opinion. Gonna be a solid A tier. Up next, we have construction. Now, kind of the cream and the orangish, yellowish gold. I'm not exactly sure what color the trim is. I think they go together pretty well, but I'm not huge on the construction icon. It's supposed to be a saw cutting through a log, which I think looks okay, but I just don't think the icon looks that great. So construction gonna be in the C tier as well. Up next, we have cooking. Now, I think the cooking icon actually looks pretty cool. You get the pot of stew that's has steam rising up. That being said, I think the red and purple really doesn't look good. I think the untrimmed skill cape of cooking looks much better than the trimmed. I think adding in the red, it just kind of melds in with the purple. It doesn't really stick out or accentuate any of the colors. So cooking, also going to be a C tier, probably a low C tier for me. Up next, we have the crafting skill cape. I'm not a huge fan of the brown and the yellow theme. And the crafting icon, well, it's okay. I think the cape itself just has kind of an ugly color, so we're going to be putting it in the D tier. Up next, we have the defense cape. This one is it's a nice light blue cape with a white trim on it. And I think the icon, looks pretty good. It's got the shield with the cross on it. Overall, a pretty solid cape, not spectacular, but it looks good. We'll put it in the B tier. Up next, we have the farming skill cape. This one I think looks really good. You have the dark green and then the light green trim. And of course, the watering can icon I think looks really cool. So farming, gonna be a solid A tier. Up next, we have fire making. I'm not a huge fan of this skill cape. I think the fire making icon is pretty cool, but the cape itself with the orange and the yellow, the orange and the yellow don't really make one color or the other stick out at all, so I don't think it's great. Fire making, gonna be in the D tier. Up next, we have the fishing skill cape. This one I think is just pretty solid overall. The fishing icon, I think it looks cool. We got a nice light blue color for the base cape and then kind of an orangish gold trim, which, I think all of them just kind of work together. I think the blue works well with the gray fishing icon, and then the goldish orange just helps accentuate the other colors, so pretty solid, so definitely a good B tier. Up next, we have the Fletching skill cape. Now, I think the untrimmed version really doesn't look that good, but I think the goldish orange really does a good job of kind of making the turquoise color pop, and I think it matches the icon as well, so Fletching, gonna be a solid B tier. Up next, we have Herblore. Herblore is one that's okay. I really like the untrimmed Herblore cape. It's got a nice, deep green with a nice green icon. But when you put the yellow on there for the trim, I think it kind of takes away from the pleasantness of how it looks. So Herblore, just going to be in the C tier for me. Up next, we have Hit Points cape. I think this is a great cape, whether trimmed or untrimmed. I think it looks really good. White and red are always a good combo. And then the Hit Points icon also looks really cool. You got the nice heart with the red on the bottom left and the orange glint on the top right of the heart. So Hit Points, definitely one of my favorite capes, gonna be in the S tier. Up next, we have the Hunter skill cape. Now, I think the Hunter icon looks pretty cool. You got the animal paw. But the cape itself, I don't think looks great. Untrimmed, I think it looks really bad. It's just really boring, kind of a bland color. When it's trimmed and it has the black outline, I think it looks a little better, but it still falls short. So not my favorite, gonna be in the C tier. Up next, we have the Magic skill cape. This is another fantastic cape in my opinion. I really like it, especially the untrimmed magic skill cape, probably one of my favorite capes. When it's untrimmed and it's just a plain white and it has the magic icon, I think it looks really cool. Even when it's trimmed, I think the blue is a nice addition. Overall magic skill cape, definitely a great choice. Gonna be in the S tier for me. Up next we have the mining skill cape. This is another one where when it's untrimmed, I think it's kind of boring. The mining icon looks cool, but it's just kind of like a grayish, bland color. That being said, when it's trimmed and you have the light blue outline, I think light blue and gray go great together, and I think the trimmed mining cape looks really nice, so gonna be an A tier. Up next we have Prayer, another one of the white ones that I think looks really good untrimmed, and then trimmed also looks really good. White and yellow goes really well together, especially with the prayer icon. Definitely a solid skill cape. Gonna be a solid A tier for me. Up next we have the range skill cape. Now while the ranged icon looks pretty cool, I think the skill cape doesn't look good. Even when it's untrimmed, I think it's kind of an ugly poop green almost. And then when it's trimmed with brown, and I think brown and dark green don't really go well together. So ranged is actually going to be in the F tier for me. Up next we have Runecrafting, one of the coolest icons in my opinion, and trimmed or untrimmed, this cape looks great. Like I said before, white and yellow both go really well together. Gonna be a solid A tier. Up next we have Slayer. Now this is hands down probably the coolest icon, with a skull with a sword sticking through it. And then the color scheme is great as well. Red and black always go great together. And just looking at the cape, whether it's trimmed or untrimmed, just simply one of the best capes in the game. Gonna be a solid A tier. Up next we have Smithing. Now smithing, like the other gray capes, untrimmed, really doesn't look good, but when it's trimmed, I think it looks pretty good. I think the yellow and gray go pretty well together. The icon is alright as well, so gonna be a B tier. Up next we have the Strength cape. Now the color of this cape I don't think is great. It's kind of a weird turquoise, blue, green, but I think it can work. That being said, I just don't think it works with the skill icon. I think the Strength fist just really doesn't fit well with green and then that red. I think it's just too many different types of colors that they're trying to make work, so not a huge fan of the Strength cape. Gonna be a D tier. Up next we have the Thieving skill cape. I think this one looks okay. I don't think the purple is a great color choice. I think they could have done much better with maybe a white to give some contrast for the black trim and the black skill icon. But Thieving, you know, it's okay. We'll put it in the C tier. Up next we have the Woodcutting cape. Now I don't like the brown and dark green color scheme. This is kind of the flipped color scheme from the range cape. That being said, I think it works a little better here because it is the woodcutting cape. So, you know, the base color of the cape is kind of the bark of the tree, and then the trim is the leaves. And so I think it actually looks okay with that in mind. But the color scheme itself I don't love, but just because it's so fitting with the icon and the skill, we'll put it in the C tier. Up next we have the Max cape. Now obviously this cape is much different from all the other skill capes. I think it looks great in game. And of course if you make it into the Fire Max or Infernal Max or Mythic Max cape, I think there's a lot of combinations you can make look really nice. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely a solid cape, pretty versatile. So Max cape, gonna be in the A tier. Well, that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.